Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering you're the king of a medieval kingdom. You have a castle, thousands of citizens, and unlimited power. But there's one problem. You only have enough money to survive for 1 month. No banks, no credit cards, no income tax software. Every decision you make determines whether your kingdom becomes the richest empire in Europe or completely collapses. Running a medieval kingdom wasn't just about fighting wars. It was about managing one of history's most complicated businesses with thousands of employees and millions in expenses. Today, we'll break down the complete economics of ruling a medieval kingdom, where the money came from, where it disappeared, and why so many kings went bankrupt. Think of your kingdom as a giant company. Your citizens are the workers. Farmers produce food, merchants create wealth, soldiers protect your investments. If your economy grows, everyone benefits. But if taxes become too high or wars last too long, the entire system begins to fall apart. Your first challenge is surprisingly simple. You need money, lots of it, because castles, armies, and roads don't pay for themselves. So where did medieval kings actually get their money? The answer might surprise you. It wasn't gold mines or hidden treasure. The real wealth of a kingdom came from something far more ordinary: land, farms, trade, and the hard work of ordinary people. Let's build this kingdom from the ground up and discover how medieval rulers turned villages into powerful empires.
Every successful kingdom started with one valuable asset: land. In the medieval world, land wasn't just property, it was the biggest source of wealth and power. The more land you controlled, the more farms, forests, and villages you owned. That meant more food, more taxes, and more money flowing into your treasury. But land alone wasn't enough. It needed people. Farmers worked the fields, craftsmen built tools, and merchants kept goods moving across the kingdom. Imagine ruling 10,000 people. Every family produced food or goods, and a small share of that production eventually reached the king. This wasn't modern income tax. Most taxes were paid with wheat, livestock, firewood, cloth, or silver coins instead of cash. A smart king avoided collecting too much. If farmers became poor, harvests shrank, and so did the kingdom's future income. Instead of squeezing every coin from the people, successful rulers focused on helping farms produce even more every year. As food production increased, villages became towns. Towns attracted skilled workers, traders, and new businesses that generated even more wealth. Soon, your treasury began filling with silver. But a rich kingdom also became an attractive target for rivals looking to steal that wealth. Now that your kingdom is earning money, it's time to discover the biggest challenge every medieval ruler faced: spending it wisely.
Your treasury is finally filling up, but don't celebrate yet. The moment money comes in, everyone wants a piece of it, from soldiers to builders. Your biggest expense is the army. A kingdom without soldiers is like a business without security, rich but easy to destroy. Soldiers needed armor, weapons, horses, food, and wages. Even during peacetime, maintaining an army was incredibly expensive. Next came the castle. It wasn't just a home, it was your headquarters, military base, warehouse, and last line of defense. Stone walls cracked, roofs leaked, gates wore out. Constant repairs were essential, and they drained the royal budget year after year. Roads were another hidden cost. Without safe roads, merchants stopped traveling, trade slowed, and tax income quickly disappeared. Bridges connected villages and markets. A single broken bridge could interrupt trade for hundreds of merchants every week. Good infrastructure created a cycle of prosperity. Better roads meant more trade, higher tax revenue, and a stronger economy. But one unexpected war could wipe out years of savings almost overnight. Every battle came with an enormous price tag. The question wasn't whether you could win the war, it was whether your kingdom could afford it.
Your neighboring kingdom has invaded your border. If you do nothing, you could lose valuable farmland, villages, and thousands of taxpayers. You order your army to march, but every single day of war costs a fortune in food, weapons, horses, and supplies. Thousands of loaves of bread, barrels of water, arrows, and medical supplies must follow your army wherever it goes. If your supply line breaks, your army weakens quickly, even if it has the best warriors in the kingdom. Winning a battle doesn't always mean making money. Sometimes the victory costs more than the land you captured. Smart kings avoided unnecessary wars. Trade often created more wealth than conquest ever could. A peaceful merchant could generate tax income for decades. A fallen soldier could never pay taxes again. That's why successful rulers invested in diplomacy, alliances, and trade agreements whenever possible. Peace wasn't just good politics, it was one of the smartest financial investments a medieval king could make. But even the richest kingdom couldn't escape its greatest enemy, disaster, and no king could control what came next.
One year, the rains never came. Crops began to wither, rivers shrank, and farmers realized the harvest would be the worst in decades. With less food available, grain prices skyrocketed. Families who could once afford bread suddenly struggled to buy even a single loaf. As food became scarce, tax revenue dropped. Farmers had little left to give, and the royal treasury stopped growing. Then came disease. Crowded towns and poor sanitation allowed deadly illnesses to spread from village to village. With fewer healthy workers, farms produced less food, workshops made fewer tools, and trade slowed across the entire kingdom. Businesses closed, markets became quieter. Even wealthy merchants struggled as fewer customers could afford their goods. To survive, the king opened emergency grain stores and lowered taxes, hoping to keep the kingdom alive until the next harvest. These decisions reduced short-term income, but they protected the people who would rebuild the economy in the future. The strongest kingdoms weren't the ones with the most gold. They were the ones that could survive a crisis and recover faster than everyone else. Now that the crisis is ending, a new challenge appears. Your economy is recovering, but your coins are losing value.
Your kingdom is finally recovering. Farms are growing again, markets are busy, and merchants are back. But something strange is happening. Prices keep rising every month. The problem isn't a lack of goods, it's your currency. Too many coins are chasing the same amount of food, making every purchase more expensive. Some desperate kings made the problem even worse. They mixed cheap metals into silver coins to create more money without finding more silver. At first, nobody noticed. The new coins looked almost identical to the old ones. Eventually, merchants realized the coins were worth less. They responded the only way they could. They raised prices on everything. Trust was one of the kingdom's most valuable assets. Once people stopped trusting the currency, trade slowed dramatically. To restore confidence, smart rulers produced reliable, high-quality coins and punished counterfeiters. A trusted currency encouraged merchants from distant kingdoms to trade with you, bringing new goods, ideas, and wealth. International trade transformed small kingdoms into powerful economic centers. Every successful trade route made your treasury stronger. Your economy is stronger than ever, but one final decision will determine whether your kingdom becomes legendary or disappears from history.
Your kingdom is stable again. The treasury is growing, trade is booming, and people are optimistic. Now comes the biggest challenge, not surviving, but creating long-term wealth. A wise king didn't spend every coin he collected. He invested in projects that made the kingdom richer year after year. New roads connected distant villages. Farmers reached markets faster. Merchants sold more goods, and tax revenue steadily increased. The king also encouraged skilled craftsmen. Blacksmiths, carpenters, and masons created products that could be sold across the kingdom. Soon, foreign merchants traveled from hundreds of miles away because your kingdom offered better products, safer roads, and fairer laws. A growing population meant more workers, more businesses, and more innovation. Prosperity attracted even more people to your kingdom. The strongest economies weren't built on endless taxes. They were built by helping ordinary people become more productive. Every successful business paid taxes. Every successful farmer produced more food. Together, they created a cycle of economic growth. By now, your kingdom has become one of the richest in the region. Neighboring rulers no longer see you as an easy target. They see you as a powerful trading partner. But before you celebrate, let's answer the biggest question of all. Could this medieval economy survive in today's world?
Imagine taking your medieval kingdom and placing it in the modern world. Would it survive? Surprisingly, many of its economic principles still work today. Every modern government still collects taxes. The difference is that today, people usually pay with money instead of wheat, livestock, or cloth. Roads, bridges, ports, and public buildings remain essential investments. Strong infrastructure still helps businesses grow and keeps the economy moving. Trade has changed dramatically. Instead of horses and wagons, goods now travel by ships, airplanes, and massive cargo trucks across the globe. Even competition hasn't changed. Medieval kingdoms competed for trade routes. Modern countries compete for businesses, factories, and skilled workers. The greatest investment has always been people. Healthy, educated, and productive citizens create stronger economies than gold alone ever could. History proves that kingdoms built on innovation, fair laws, and thriving trade usually lasted much longer than those built only on military power. In the end, the best rulers weren't always the strongest warriors. They were the smartest economic managers. Whether you're running a medieval kingdom, a billion-dollar company, or your own personal finances, the same rule applies. Earn wisely, spend carefully, and invest for the future. So, could you build the richest kingdom in medieval history, or would your economy collapse under pressure? Let us know what decision you would make first, and we'll see you in the next adventure.
1 year has passed. Your kingdom is richer than ever, but success creates new problems. The population is growing faster than your food supply. You have two choices: clear nearby forests to create new farmland, or import grain from neighboring kingdoms. Both options come with serious costs. You decide to do both. New farms increase local production, while imported grain keeps food prices stable during the transition. Next, you invest in education. Skilled builders, engineers, and craftsmen produce better tools and stronger buildings than ever before. Productivity rises across the kingdom. Farmers harvest more crops, workshops finish more products, and merchants earn higher profits. Instead of raising taxes, you encourage businesses to grow. As the economy expands, tax revenue naturally increases. Your kingdom becomes famous for honest laws, safe roads, and reliable trade. Foreign merchants now choose your markets over everyone else's. Gold fills your treasury, but your greatest achievement isn't wealth. It's creating a kingdom where ordinary people have the chance to succeed. Centuries later, historians study your reign as one of the greatest economic success stories in medieval history. And it all started with one simple decision: build a stronger economy before building a bigger army.
By now, you've ruled your kingdom through prosperity, war, famine, recovery, and growth. Every challenge taught the same lesson: money is a tool, not the goal. Gold sitting inside a treasury does nothing by itself. Wealth only grows when it's invested in people, businesses, and infrastructure. The richest kingdoms understood something many rulers ignored: productive citizens are the greatest resource any nation can have. A fair tax system encouraged people to work harder, invest more, and build successful businesses that benefited the entire kingdom. History is filled with kingdoms that collected enormous taxes, but still became poor because they ignored growth and innovation. The most successful rulers constantly asked one question: how can today's decisions make the kingdom stronger 10 years from now? That mindset still shapes modern businesses and governments. Long-term investment almost always beats short-term thinking.
Whether you're managing a country, running a company, or saving for your future, the same economic principles continue to apply. Great leaders don't simply collect wealth, they create opportunities that allow everyone else to succeed alongside them. If you enjoyed building this medieval economy, imagine what we'll explore next: another kingdom, another business, another economic mystery waiting to be uncovered.
Before we end, let's look back at your journey. You inherited a struggling kingdom with an empty treasury, but you transformed it into a thriving economy. You learned that taxes alone never create wealth. Real prosperity comes from productive farms, successful businesses, and busy trade routes. You invested in roads instead of unnecessary luxury. Those roads connected villages, lowered transportation costs, and boosted trade across the kingdom. You kept your currency trustworthy. That single decision attracted merchants from distant kingdoms and strengthened your economy for years. You prepared for disasters before they happened. Emergency grain stores and financial reserves helped your people survive difficult years. Instead of conquering every neighbor, you built profitable trade partnerships. Peace became one of your kingdom's greatest investments. By encouraging innovation, your craftsmen created better tools, your farmers harvested more food, and your merchants expanded into new markets. The result wasn't just a richer treasury, it was a stronger society where ordinary people had more opportunities to succeed. The greatest lesson from medieval economics is timeless. Wealth grows when people are free to work, trade, create, and invest in the future. Thanks for ruling this kingdom with us. In the next episode, we'll explore the economics of another fascinating world and uncover the secrets behind its success.
One final question. If you had ruled this kingdom from the very beginning, what would you have done differently? Every decision shapes the future of an economy. Would you lower taxes to help businesses grow? Or would you collect more money to build a stronger army? Every choice has consequences. History reminds us that the richest kingdoms weren't always the biggest. They were often the smartest at managing resources. Economic success isn't built overnight. It's created through thousands of smart decisions made consistently over many years. That's the real secret behind every successful civilization: steady growth, careful planning, and smart investment. Even today, countries and companies still follow many of these same principles. The tools have changed, but economics hasn't. If this journey changed the way you think about money and history, then the kingdom has already made you richer in knowledge. There are countless fascinating economies left to explore, from pirate ships and Roman empires to luxury hotels and billion-dollar businesses. Which economy should we break down next? Share your idea in the comments. You might inspire the next episode. Until next time, keep asking questions, keep learning, and remember, behind every great empire is an even greater economy.